So, across the board, we're holding accountability for productivity. Okay? Across the store, every shift, everywhere. So I'm just going to read this to you, and then you can tell me your comments, okay? You want to come up where you can see it? It says, observation, Johnny's productivity is not at the level it needs to be to meet company standards required for completing his job duties. Part of his job is to ensure that all freight gets worked accurately, effectively, and in a timely manner. Johnny needs to ensure that he is maintaining his time wisely so that merchandise gets worked 100% before taking it to the back to have IMS to have binned. Also ensure all picks are complete and ensure specific areas zoned daily. The impact his process has failed. Poor customer service, leaving customers with bad shopping experience. Customers are then forced to shop elsewhere if merchandise is not stocked and zoned. Availability of product to our customer is always the priority. Not completing his duties affects our OSA first processes. Johnny is expected to follow through on Walmart processes, complete his job duties in his specific area with a sense of urgency. So would you say that your productivity is not what it used to be? You don't agree with that?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have any other comments?
No, I told y'all this was coming. I told y'all counts are wrong, and they're still mixing our old freight with our new freight when it's coming out on the trucks. And they can't say they're not, because when you got our bin tag stuck to the side of the freight that's mixed with your new freight, you know. It's not coming like that from the warehouse. It's not coming from the warehouse taped shut. Yeah, with the IMS bin labels that they put on the corners. They're not coming from the warehouse with the labels on them and taped back together mixed with our new freight from the warehouse.
Right, but our picks do come back out, because now our new OSA first processes is if it sells, it picks. So if they pick it during the day and they don't work it out, they are going to send it out.
Because I even had this conversation the other night with Yvette when she was here, and Ahmed. I took them out there and showed them, and they had everybody's stuff was mixed. They had our pigs, old freight, new freight, all shoved together. And it was all on the same pallets, because I walked down the whole entire back action alley and showed both of them how bad it was back there. And Yvette said she was going to address it, and Ahmed said he was going to address it.
And it was addressed, and they have already gotten back with me on that.
But I know every night, I can honestly say too, every night, I even walk the sales floor even before y'all get out here. New freight is new freight, okay? And there is no old freight mixed on it, and it's not nightly. Okay, I know that for a fact because I've walked it. So that shouldn't even be the issue on a lot.
Some nights it is.
But it's not every night.
Not every night, because groceries been being 100% binned every day during the day. If not by us, they start on it first thing in the morning, and there's only 2 or 3 pallets.
And I also addressed it with them that, you know, when we get pallets out there, you know how many times I've been to aisle 8 and 99 to bring him his freight?
Okay, so that might be an issue with the sort being wrong, but that's still not going to hinder your productivity that much by taking a couple cases across to the
It
next
does
aisle.
when I got, on a nightly basis, I'm finding stuff that's for Z11. All that stuff's up front. That's all cashiers. I have to walk all the way up front and drop that off now too. And then when I find more, I got to walk that up front and drop it off too. And when you're finding stuff for pharmacy on the other side of the store, over in grocery, we have to walk that across the store too. When you're going from aisle to aisle all night through grocery, up front, across the store, taking everybody else their stuff that you're finding, and you've even seen, I've pulled electronics off my pallets on aisles 10 and 11. And I'm not the only one having that same issue. We all have that same issue on the floor.
Right. GM finds grocery on their side as well, but that's not a constant thing.
That's still not going to delay your process, 2 or 3 hours in your aisle, especially if your aisle only has
2 or 3 hours. When I come in and I have 6 pallets and my task time says 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then the next night I have less freight and I'll have 2 pallets and it still says the same 2 hour and 45 minutes, and it's the same kind of freight, and it's all cans and the cases are all the same size, I know my count's not right. There's no way I can have 6 hours of cans that are exact same cases and 2 pallets of cans the next night with the exact same hours. And then and sit there and think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, those same 6 pallets with the same vegetable cans and these 2 pallets tonight with the same vegetable cans are both 2 hours and 45 minutes. You can look at it and tell that it's wrong.
Okay. Like I said, And I'm gonna disagree on some of that, because again, I see some of the freight that comes in, and still, you know, you can argue the task times and stuff like that all you want. They're not that off. They're not off by that much. It's not. You know, I'm sorry, it's not. You know, you can look at some of your freight that's pulled out the floor, and if it says it's 3 or 4 hours, you can tell it's 3 or 4 hours. It's not an 8-hour shift. It doesn't take 8 hours to do 4 hours worth of freight.
Does it take me 8 hours to do all my freight?
Some of the problem is the sense of urgency in the store. Some of us are not reacting with a sense of urgency. And, you know, if we react with a sense of urgency, the freight goes up much faster. I know, I stock a department too. I work, you know, I used to be department manager. I used to work overnights. I used to be an overnight stalker too. You know what? And we were moving. We were constantly moving. And even our members of management back at that time, assistants that were over us at that time, they were on us, and we were expected to meet that standard. And yes, has it been some time, but not a whole lot has changed. It's still the same process when you're working a department. You know, it is. Like I said, because, you know, I'm not telling you anything I don't already know, because I've been there. I used to work overnights. You know, I worked all GM. I worked TLE when they used to be a different division and everything. I worked everywhere too. So I mean, I know what it is. So, but to say that it's wrong every single night, and that's why, you know, it takes that much longer because of freight mix. You know, yeah, they're not perfect. You're going to find some stuff that's not yours mixed in, but it's not going to hold you back 2 or 3 hours. There's no way. So I mean, and if it's every night, are you addressing it every night? Are you saying, hey, this is what's
I address it every night that a manager walks by, and I pull him over there and I show it. If I find a manager, I show him every night.
Well, we're walking the floor over there. You've never really pulled me all that much.
I pulled you almost every night that I've seen you. I pull Yvette. I pull Ahmed. I've pulled... The last time I had this discussion was with Donald. And Donald told me there's no way my time is off that far. So I counted out my freight, and I separated the 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of freight from the rest of my freight. And after I separated my 2 hours and 45 minutes on the rocket carts and put it at one end of my aisle, I still had 3 pallets at the other end of my aisle. And I explained to Donald, if that's my 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of freight, by what the company standards are, why do I still have 3 pallets?
And explain, I wasn't here. I wasn't there that night.
There's also times that whole pallets of features of the same cans of your stuff comes in and gets pulled to your aisle. But we already
and when you have freight underneath it, now you're sitting there, you got to separate all those cans onto another pallet.
I'm talking about when it's the whole pallet of the same exact thing or split in half. It's not going to give you time for that whole pallet, though, because you're not actually going to work that whole pallet.
I understand those nights.
It's not going to hold that whole pallet. You know, so when you get a large quantity of stuff that you know is not going to go into the home, and you're not tasked to do a feature, to build a feature, not to fill a feature, to build a feature, then of course you're not going to get all the time for that whole pallet.
Oh, I understand that. But there's a lot of nights we get features in where it's mixed in with regular freight because it's not a full pallet. It's a half a pallet of feature and it's on top of your regular freight. Now you're sitting there and you got to move all that feature from one pallet to another before you can even get to the bottom to where your regular freight's at.
Okay. So what about all the nights when you agree that it does match up and you don't have that much on the aisle and you're not able to move on?
I do move on. A lot of times when I move on to help other people, and then I help clear the floor, I help clean up the floor. I'm always helping associates when they can't find something. I'm always trying to help the customers when associates don't know where something's at with the customer. They know they come to me. I help everybody out there on the floor. Nobody out there has a problem with me because they know when they need something or they need somebody, they can come to me.
Okay. There have been many nights that you've never made it off your aisle. We agree on that, right? There have been many nights you have stayed on your aisle the whole time.
Yeah, there's nights where I'm stuck on my aisle.
Okay, there's nights that you have stayed on your aisle the whole time and never made it to the other aisles.
Bobby does the same thing. There's nights Bobby's done at 3 and he zones the rest of the morning.
When you are tasked, we're talking about your task. When you are tasked to other aisles, there are nights that you have never made it to the other aisles.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a productivity issue.
So last night when I had all that freight on one aisle It was an issue that I didn't make it to my second aisle right away.
You didn't make it to your second aisle.
I did make it to 8 and 9.
And then
Was
the
I
other
not over there
night-
working 8 and 9 with everybody when you went out there?
I know the other night you didn't, because I had to end up pulling Ryan over there one night to work 6 and 7. I think it was 6 and 7. One of the other aisles, you never made it over there. You were still stuck on the other one. In the last minute, I had to scramble and go pull Ryan.
And I had a lot of freight that night, just like last night. If any manager would have asked me the night before, they would have known that an extra pile of picks came out from the night before that I cleaned up, because everybody didn't do all their picks, and I cleaned it up, stacked it all up, and I took it to the back, and I still had a whole rocket cart of new freight that wasn't able to get finished the night before when I was slammed with all that freight, and everybody got pulled. Everybody got pulled and sent to pets. Even though I still had freight and it didn't get finished, I went back there myself last night and pulled out that freight to make sure it got worked yesterday. And we worked it yesterday because it didn't get worked the night before. And IMS can back me up on that, because I made sure they put it where I could go back there the next night, and I went back there and got it.
I just know that sometimes too, and I'm not disputing that, you don't work and stuff like that. It's just that, there's sometimes, Johnny, when you work out there, and you know what, you're working great, you're moving. And then there's other nights when, there's time and you're tasked to another aisle and stuff, the productivity's not there. It's like, I don't know what's going on, I notice that. I'm not the only one that notices that. I walk the floor, I observe, I watch, we all do. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. Tour the floor, make sure, the stuff is getting done. And there's nights when the sense of urgency just is not.
Some nights you're wore out. There's only so many nights you can sit there and work 2 of the heaviest aisles in grocery by yourself and do it consistently every night and not wear down. When you got other people that, you can put on aisle 20 and it takes all night to work a half an aisle. Or you put them on cereal. I've never seen anybody until this last year that takes all night to work cereal. Ever. I've never seen that. And I've never seen it until this last year, where you can put 2 people on cereal and it still takes them all night to work cereal. The lightest freight in the store.
But again, the conversation isn't about anybody else. It's about you right now. And
But why can't everybody be treated on an equal level around
we
here?
are.
That is.
We all get paid on the equal level. We get our raises at the equal level. But when it comes to working freight, it's not an equal level.
It is an equal level. We're addressing it across the board. Okay? And it's going across all 3 shifts. All across the store.
So that is being consistent. That is holding everybody accountable to the same standards. And you have to agree that when you started here, you did not know everything. There is a learning curve
Really?
for new associates.
I started here with,
I know
what
you
was
had
it?
experience.
12 years experience? 11,
Right.
12 years experience?
But to learn Walmart language and to learn aisle location, you had to learn that when it came out. It was something new.
Aisle location, I bet you I can show managers up on that sales floor and be able to walk straight to stuff that managers can't even find. Because I've had managers on a nightly basis come to my aisle and ask me where something's at. If management is truly walking the store and watching everybody, they would know where stuff's at too. Not on a nightly basis have to ask us where stuff's at.
Okay, hold on. Out of all the thousands and thousands of products that we carry in the store, do you think we know where every single item is supposed to be in the store?
There's a lot of them.
Do you know where every single item is in the store?
Pretty much.
Everything? You're
Just
that
about.
perfect?
I might not know exactly where it is on the shelf, but I guarantee you I can get you there and I can find it.
Well, I think we all can, but to know where every specific item in this store is located and exactly to the T, I don't think that there's anybody that's that perfect. And we carry thousands of products. So I mean, you can argue that all you want. And sure, we're going to come up to you and say, hey, can you tell me where this is or whatever. I'm not perfect by far. I will come up to associate and I will ask, can you tell me where this specific item, if it's something that I'm not used to buying or whatever, and then mods change all the time, locations change all the time.
Happens on the sales floor, but that doesn't mean, when mods change all the time, the mods are messed up and we got new mod that people got to find, and then the mod's not even set yet, so then they have to come and ask somebody else, and then you have to go explain to them that it's new mod, show them how to read the tags and everything else, because nobody else is training associates when they get hired. Associates are training associates. But then you get penalized because your productivity is up. So then nobody wants to train nobody anymore because they don't want to get written up and get pulled in the office over productivity. And then nobody's getting trained, and then we end up in the same situation again where people can't do the job.
What do you mean people are getting penalized? Penalized for what?
How many people out there do you think actually train the new associates when they get put on the floor?
I don't know, you tell me.
I can guarantee you almost none of them, because almost every new associate we've had, I've asked them if they've been shown how to read labels or anything else or tags. I've taught them.
And
I'm going to disagree with that because I go out there with every new associate. I ask them. I showed them the first night.
I've taught a lot of them. You can go out there and ask them.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I've asked a lot of them. On their first night, I go out there and I explain a little bit to them. You can't overwhelm somebody with everything and expect them to learn it in one night. Agree?
Agreed.
Okay. Then I follow back up with them and go and say, remember how I showed you this when they have questions. So I am on that floor talking to new associates and training new associates. So that is something that we do when we're touring the floor with the new associates. I do get them back to do their CBLs. That does help train them. So for your perspective to be that you're the only one training new associates, I'm going to disagree with that.
I said who that's out on the floor. I didn't say management. I said out of all the people out on the floor.
But then why wouldn't associates want to help their fellow associates and teach and train them? That's, you know, that's just courtesy too. I mean, we were all once new. Somebody all had to teach us all at one time and train us.
Because it's getting that way.
That's where you learn from your associates. It's part of the training process.
Nobody starts a new job and knows exactly how that job wants to be done. I mean, whether it's for Walmart or another company, you still have to learn from somebody. And if you walked into a place and nobody was willing to help you, you know, that's not right. And that saddens me to hear that we have associates that feel that way, that they don't want to put forth the effort to help new people that come on.
There's a lot of them out there that won't because they're afraid if they train somebody in the area that they're working, they're afraid that that person's going to take their job. So they don't want to train them. Because it's gotten to around here where it seems like every other month this is what happens. Everybody's getting in trouble. Everybody's getting written up. I don't see nobody out there really walking around, you know, trying to find out what the problem is out on the floor and why people aren't working. But everybody's getting in trouble for it, and everybody keeps seeing groups of associates get written up or terminated all the time. And it's gotten to the point out on the floor, everybody's scared and everybody's looking for jobs. Everybody. And I feel bad that associates in here have to stand out there on the floor every night nervous that they're going to get called in the office and get written up and get fired. And everybody out there on the floor is afraid of that.
As long as people are doing
Well, you
their
can give me
jobs.
your opinion of how you feel, but I can't take your opinion about how everybody else
That's
feels.
fine because we've tried to talk about this in the meeting, but here's the exact thing management always tells me when we try to talk about this in the meeting. Because I'll bring it up, and then everybody wants to talk about it, and I get told by management that that's your opinion, nobody else's, but everybody else wants to talk about it, but then management says, if you want to talk about this, Johnny, we can go in the office, and they shut everybody else down. Because Ahmed does it every time I bring it up, and I talk to Yvette about it, and we bring it up in the meeting.
Okay, but you
Ahmed
never
shuts me
attend
down.
any of my meetings, Johnny, so you never attend
Yeah,
any of my
rarely,
meetings.
very rarely are you
Because when I
gonna
see you on the floor, you're always willing to talk to me.
Right, but there's things that go over in the meeting, like if I have a plan, you know, just like tonight being waxed, I shouldn't even have to have that paged out. If everybody that would have came to the meeting, I could have talked about it in the meeting and everybody would have known.
I was already tasking in coffee and on coffee.
Well, after the meeting, you were still in the meeting task.
Well, I was getting a pallet jack, some rock carts over there, and then I changed my task when I got over there.
So, you know, we do talk to associates. Associates do come to us, and they are more than welcome to voice their opinions. And I understand that. You are more than welcome to come to anybody with your opinion, but you can't bring me opinions of other associates. They have to come and talk to us. That's what our open door policy is there for. And, you know, if your perception is people are scared to come to work, people are looking for other jobs, you know, there's a lot of people. Management doesn't terminate most people in this store. People terminate themselves. So, I mean, there are policies that everybody has to follow. You know, and what you hear on the sales floor may not actually be the truth of what really happened, because everything that's in this office is confidential and stays in this office.
That is a load. That is a load.
Well, we can't stop anybody.
I've been pulling this office, and I've had conversations with managers in this office, and less than 5 minutes after me being out of this office, everybody on the store floor already knows. So I know it's not confidential in the office because I've been in here.
We can't keep associates from going and talking, but I'm not going and telling the associates what is happening in here, because it is confidential. It's between me and you and the other manager.
Yeah,
And it should not leave this office.
So if anything is said from the conversation we're having in this office, it's not coming from us. I can assure you that, because we keep it confidential. So if anybody wants to talk, or if they say anything, it's not coming from us.
So I just need you to type in your action plan.
I have one.
So you're absolutely positive you do not want to put in an action plan?
Absolutely positive.
Do you want to pull up the policy and let him know what the consequences of that is? Under the coaching policies? I don't want to quote it. I know what it used to say. I don't want to quote it if it's changed in the last couple months. So it is still in here. Do you wanna read it? Just so we can show it to you. It says if the associate continues to refuse to do an action plan, select the box, associate refused to acknowledge, and select the reason for refusal. Explain to the associate, refuses to write an acceptable improvement plan of action, he or she will be subject to additional discipline up to and including termination. This is your chance to voice your opinion. That's why it's important that you do it.
And I also know due to Walmart's policy, open door policy, I can refuse to enter the action plan and I can take it to our hiring manager in the morning. And I'm electing to do so.
An action plan doesn't have anything to do with the open door policy. You can, it's still going to get
But
submitted.
by law, Walmart cannot
I'm not
force
forcing
me
you.
to sign
I'm
anything I don't want to
asking-
sign.
I'm not,
And if Walmart's going to punish me because I refuse to sign something I don't agree with till I take it to our hiring manager, and you terminate me for that,
no. I didn't say I was going to terminate you.
But
I said
Walmart can up to terminate me.
Right.
If that's what
And that's not going to happen tonight,
Yeah.
Johnny. That doesn't mean I'm doing it tonight because this will go to higher management. It will go. HR sees these. It will go up, and you do have the chance to use the open door policy. That doesn't have anything to do with you not doing
I understand
an action
that,
plan.
but if I don't agree with something, I'm not going to sign it. I'm not going to put an action plan for something I don't agree with.
Okay.
That can be part of your action plan that you don't agree with it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's your chance to put in your opinion that you don't agree with it.
And legally, on my terms, I am telling you I'm covering myself, and I'm not going to put in an action plan for
that's
something I don't agree with.
Okay. Do you want to acknowledge it?
Nope.
You want to click associate refuse to acknowledge? Okay, Alberta. You can return to work and you are more than welcome to use the open door policy. That's what it's there for.
Okay.